climbed newer heights, with it being ranked as the #1 private university in Assam in 2020 by Education World. Besides teaching, it has a vibrant research program. It has also conducted more than 300 webinars since May 2020, which has been addressed by experts of renown in various disciplines for the benefit of students, faculty members, and the society at large. Today's event, on the theme Remembering Gandhiji and Revisiting His Spinning Wheel, marks the very first of a series of webinars on Gandhian philosophy, which would culminate on 2nd October 2020 as a part of a 2-year-long commemoration of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was one of the most prominent leaders in the Indian freedom struggle, where, for the first time, he was successful in capturing the popular imagination for collective mass participation in the social, cultural, economic, and political realities of the day. He did not believe that in Prakriti originates and that governs the thought processes of the Purusha. Rather, he believed in the power of the spirit of man to shape its environment to some extent and thus affect the course of history. This becomes more important that we witness the novel challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic in the current global situation today. In this webinar today, we welcome Professor Pradip Jyoti Mohanto, Dean, Royal School of Social Humanities and Social Sciences. Sir, we would request you to say a few words on today's theme. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Am I being audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Perfectly audible, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Respected Dave, and also my friends of the university, and also this, we assemble here Dr. Thakur has just elaborated on the great function in
copy লাগিব verification আছে তোমাৰ পৰা লৈ লম তেওঁৰ লগত related
that was shining the entire population of India. What was the spirit behind the light that was coming from deep consciousness, the life and pursuit of Gandhi? That was almost in Assam, India. A year later again, Gandhiji, Pandit Nehru, in paying homage on the first anniversary date, who is passing away, Pandit Nehru said that it is very difficult to get a clear appraisal of the personality of Gandhi, because those who are nearby him were so much because in the entire life, Gandhiji was facing himself at the public space, such as private. So those who are very much connected, very much near and dear to him, on the part of those to get a perception of the personality, his qualities and contributions of Gandhiji because they were so tremendous, so profound. At the same time, it was not possible for those who to have a clear appraisal of Gandhiji, his personality, his works, his perceptions, his philosophy, and so on, because it was not possible for them to get sight of the, to feel the pulse of the, to have a glimpse of the fire which was all the time burning in him. Now, what was that light in him, and what was the fire that was always burning in him? When we see the entire range of Gandhiji's contributions at the level of philosophy, at the level of his contribution to the freedom struggle, and at the level of his constant pursuit of truth in the entire part of his life. So we can get, apart from all other things, a few very pertinent points to be remembered at this particular juncture of time. His concept of Swaraj, his concept of truth, and his concept of the spinning wheel, which are very much signifiers, which are very much, significant traits on his personality. I think that his concept of truth and his concept of Swaraj are not just a political slogan, just not a political saying, but that was coming out of his deep consciousness of the philosophical approach and worldview that he was always preserving in his mind, that always he was pursuing. And the concept of Swaraj and also the concept of truth again speak volumes of the aesthetic view of Gandhiji's life, not only towards Upanishadic thought. Ahimsa Satyama Steya Brahmacharya Sangraha Sarirasam, etc. etc. I'm not taking time in pronouncing the entire sloka. Again, a very distinctive aspect of the Natya Shastra in which an actor all these principles of Abhinaya transform an actor or transform the entire audience, which are gets transformed to the world of the actor. In the same manner, Gandhiji, with his complete public exposure, with a kind of spinning wheel that was a kind of brought in his mind in life, what he was using his speeches with all these together, he played like a great actor in the entire freedom struggle in transforming the entire society. Later, and that way, Gandhi left behind only a political statesman, political philosophy in front of the entire Indian populace. At the same time, so that kind of, philosophy, he also kept before us, he left for us a complete worldview, a complete philosophy of aesthetics that we should pursue even today. And those things are particularly significant and particularly relevant for us today. It is high time that we should remember Gandhiji not only on this particular anniversary celebrations that we are holding, but at the same time throughout our life. I think in order to, as Dr. Thakur was addressing at the beginning, in order to thwart, in order to subvert the present crisis that has come before us, in the wake of the COVID-19, also in planning and development, in planning and development measures, a strategy in thwarting, in checking this pandemic situation. I think we can emulate the examples of emulate the ideals of, emulate the sayings of, emulate the examples not only in his philosophical statements, but to his complete applied level of lifestyle that Gandhiji was pursuing will be highly relevant for us even today. With these few words, so I personally feel that Gandhiji not only will be abiding for us today, even for the future generations too. With these few words, I, on behalf of and Royal Humanities and Social Science, uh, welcome all of you to this series of celebrations to be started from today. And at the same time, I welcome Sri Sukamal Dev to this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It is very profound about what you have spoken about Gandhi, especially Gandhiji's concept of truth, Swaraj and the spinning wheel. They were very pertinent for an age where people were trying to find out a language of protest. Because when Gandhiji came to the Indian scene, of course, at that point of time, we had the First World War was going on. We had the Russian Revolution going on, and he was trying to find out a new novel method of protest. So he captured the imagination of the masses. He spoke the language of the masses. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now,
Thank you. Thank you.
We have amongst us Professor Alok Kumar Buragohai, Chairperson Academic, Royal Global University. He was the former Vice Chancellor of Dibrugarh University, one of the oldest academic institutions in northeastern India. He was also the founder head of the Department of Molecular Biology, Tezpur University. Born in Shillong, Professor Buragohai has completed his education in Shillong, Guwahati, and England. We welcome you, sir. We request, sir, to speak a few words on today's topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. for your kind introduction. At the very outset, let me extend my hearty welcome to our distinguished speaker today, this morning, Dr. Sukamal Dev. And I think we are very, very privileged to have you here this morning once again. I think you came last year as well. I think we had the privilege of listening to you on the same occasion. And this time around, we are beginning the series of lectures, orations on different aspects of Gandhi's life and philosophy and contribution to the world during the next few days, beginning today. And I, on my personal behalf and on behalf of the Assam Royal Global University, extend you a very hearty welcome. And we really look forward to a very interesting discussion on your topic, that is remembering Gandhiji and revisiting his spinning wheel or the charkha. Now, my friend and my long-time colleague, Professor P.J. Mahanta, has already elaborated on the deeper philosophy and meaning of Gandhiji's life and work, his contribution. And what is very remarkable to remember at this point in time, while paying tribute to Gandhiji on his 151 birth anniversary, is that I think the relevance of Gandhi's philosophy, Gandhi's contribution is felt now more than any time before, perhaps. The whole, not only in our country, everywhere, the Gandhian, whether it is in the realm of politics, whether it is in the realm of appreciating human values, human rights, whether in the realm of using our resources in a scientific manner towards achieving the much talked about sustainable growth. These were all there in Gandhiji's life and philosophy and in his work. His charkha, the spinning mill, it was not simply an instrument to motivate the farmers and the poor for becoming self-reliant and self-independent and create what he called as a local economy, the Swaraj and all that. But then it has a deeper connotation, it has got a deeper meaning, and it symbolizes a larger philosophy that he believed in. The charkha, through the charkha, the spinning mill, he displayed how a simple piece of equipment, instrument, can have such a potent impact on extending survival to the poor, hungry poor. So that was very basic thing of human survival, is how to satisfy your basic requirement for living, that is hunger. So the spinning wheel, the charkha, could give us an option that you can spin, you can go towards your own economy, economic survival. So that was at the basic of the grassroots level economy, the Swaraj. But also it denoted how simple we should be. Simplicity, if anything else that impacts us or influences or impresses not only us, the whole world about Gandhiji, is also his simplicity. His charkha also symbolizes simplicity, the value of simplicity, the strength of simplicity. So he had a total, totally different worldview, so simple and so relevant for all time to come, and of universal significance, not only for India and Indians, but for the whole world. So, and we have to remember that through his life and work and his philosophy, it was so powerful that it could really destabilize the most powerful of the colonial British. So this is something we should remember that. And Ambuz was referring to his mode of lodging protests in a very non-violent manner. The power of non-violence, to the world has been displayed, I think, in the recent times for the first time by Gandhiji. So in a world of violence, in a world of uncertainty, I think, especially in the middle of this pandemic situation, I think Gandhiji's philosophy, his optimism, his belief in human beings, his belief in simplicity can be the silver lining. So while paying my personal tribute to this great human leader of all time, let me hand over the floor to our distinguished speaker this morning, Dr. Sukamal Dev. Thank you, Ambuz. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to express my few thoughts on the occasion. Thank you very much.
The pleasure is ours, sir. Thank you so much. And sir, you're absolutely right that the main what we learn about Gandhiji's life and what we should imbibe is about his simplicity. It's in his simplicity that lay his actual soft power, if we use a very modern term, because it is through this simplicity that he could encourage the people to concentrate on the basic realities of life and empower them at the same time. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now we move on to the main theme of the topic today, and we have amongst us, we're delighted actually to welcome the main speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Sukamal Dev. Dr. Sukamal Dev currently serves as the Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Northeastern Zone in charge of the Khadi and Village Industries Commission, Government of India. With a doctorate in rural development, he has his core competencies in social entrepreneurship and leadership in functional areas such as rural reconstruction, youth motivation, entrepreneurship, and poverty alleviation. He has a specialization in social sector leadership from the Haas School of Business, University of California, and has also completed a certificate course on the age of sustainable development from Columbia University, New York, very recently. Besides having been a member of various governmental committees. He has also authored a book, Poverty and Deprivations, The Story of Arunachal Pradesh, published from LAP Germany in 2017. He has 7 edited volumes on rural entrepreneurship, khadi, amongst others. He has also authored a number of papers in national and international journals, one of the most recent publications being COVID-19, Anthropocene and Sustainable Development, published in Jagriti in May 2020. Sir, we're honored to have you. I hand over the mic and the platform to you. We are all ears for you. Welcome, sir.
Very good morning to everybody. I think.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. My sincere thanks to the Social Works Department, Royal Global University, Guwahati, for offering me the opportunity. Speaking on Gandhiji is always paying a pious visit to a finest temple that ever humanity has created. Gandhiji's lines take us to a spiritual expedition. When I admire wonder of a sunset or the beauty of the moon, the sun expands in worship of the Creator. He said, and I truly wonder such an accomplished human being ever visited the planet in flesh and blood where we live today. I am grateful to the organizer, the RGU, for organizing such a relevant event. Most respected Professor S.P. Honorable Professor Buraguhai, Chairperson Academy, respected Professor Mahanta, Dean, Madam Mimani, Registrar, Dr. Praniti Madam, Associate Professor, School of Social Work, esteemed members of Gyan Sagar Foundation, Dr. Thakur, Moderator and Associate Professor, Department of History, my dear students, the hope and light of the future, one and all. My life is deeply indebted to Gandhiji. In appreciating his philosophy, I ardently believe everything that lives not alone, not for itself. We all are deeply connected. On this occasion, my pursuit is to talk on topic remembering Gandhiji and revisiting his spinning wheel. As we know, to Gandhiji, the spinning wheel was a symbol of mental therapy, a spiritual discourse, and a way towards socio-economic salvation of the last man in the queue, the Daridra Narayana. Today, I will also share you a few life-changing incidents that happened in my life. So on the birth anniversary, we once again recapture what the whole world say about Gandhiji. The world today recognizes him as a far more compelling social innovator than humanity ever realized. His life and soul continue to animate humanity, transcending national and international boundaries. His contribution to a human development is far too great and buried to have been forgotten or to be overlooked. The advent of Gandhiji happened when Indian economy was struggling against a plan of an interloper to ruin it completely. The Indian economy in pre-British era was based on the simple division of labor and a self-sufficient economy. The farmers cultivated the soil and tended cattle. Similarly, there existed artisans like weavers, goldsmiths, carpenters, potters, oil pressers, washermen, cobblers, and barbers, etc., who did the other secondary work. These occupants were hereditary. The interdependence of agriculture and handicrafts industry provided the basic localized village economy in our country. India, which was then divided into small princely state, was famous for its wealth, prosperity, spices, and silk. This is why the traders came to this country from different parts of the world. The Portuguese were the first Europeans, followed by the Dutch, British and French. The British set up English East India Company for trade, targeted the Indian villages that were the basic unit of local government in the Indian political history traced back in the Vedic period. Since earliest time, our villages had been the pivot of administration in India. The raw materials produced from the primary sector were the feed for the handicraft sector. The craftsmen were paid from the raw materials produced out of agriculture at the harvest time in lieu of service performed by them. But the advent of the British saw an emergence of a neo-politico-economic policy which aimed at annihilating the traditional industry to find an outlet for its own products in the Indian market. Commercialization of Indian agriculture through exploitive and revenue system started by the British. It forced production of commercial crops, which helped in draining the wealth from the villages. Destruction of the Indian handicrafts started by introduction of machine-made goods, which were relatively cheaper. Further, it forced the Indian handicrafts to pay more import duties, making Indian goods much costlier and eliminated the competition completely. Thus, the Indian handicraft exports were paralyzed. The sheer discrimination and oppressive policy led to destruction of the Indian handicrafts. At this crucial moment of the country, the advent of the Gandhiji took place. He pioneered to revive the age-old self-sufficiency in his word, Gram Savalamban mechanism through decentralized economic growth in the rural areas and made it a part of the constructive program during the independence movement of this country. The important role of the spinning wheel was discovered in his mental vision in year 1908, and its actualization happened in year 1918 when he launched the concept of charkha, the spinning wheel. Gandhiji advocated khadi and village industries. It played a pioneering role in restoring the lost glory of the time-tested self-sufficient model, the model of just distribution of wealth, the model that generates maximum number of employments, the model that employs local resources and local talents to produce for masses. He worked for the removal of untouchability and low status of the artisan so that they could get their due place and share in the society. These profound ideas culminated in the Sarvodaya concept. He brought new dimension to the word Swadeshi in this correlation. Gandhian strategy of rural reconstruction is based on his program of village Swaraj and the Swadeshi movement. Under these two programs, he took up simple activities like charkha, revival of cottage industries, village sanitation and hygiene, basic education in his term Nai Talim for harmonious development of the whole personality, etc. Today, the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat is an extension of his idea, Swadeshi. He was not only a freedom fighter, but also a great thinker of the 20th century. His views of rural reconstruction were an integral part of the philosophy of life, which is characterized by truth and non-violence, respect for human nature, dislike for all kinds of injustice and exploitation. Gandhiji did express his views on a number of economic and social issues. Since majority of the population of India lives in villages, he paid more attention to the problem of the villages, and he said, we are inheritor of rural civilization. True economics, according to Gandhiji, must be life-oriented and a servant of human at large. He said, earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not for every man's greed. He anticipated the problem of the unplanned growth and emphasized that the aim of economic planning should stand on self-sufficiency, full employment, and decentralization of power. To him, promotion of the village industries is basic to the economic development of the country, symbolized through spinning wheel. Gandhiji considered Swadeshi as the law of laws, ingrained in the basic nature of man. In its ultimate spiritual sense, it stood for the final emancipation of the soul from her earthly bondage and releasing her oneness with all life. In the light of this understanding, Gandhiji defined Swadeshi. The law of Swadeshi was based on recognition of the scientific limitation of human capacity for service and is on the perception that all living beings are neighbor of one another, so that a person's every act has a beneficial or harmful influence on one's immediate neighbor. This would consequently exert a positive impact on the entire humanity. In its concept, Khadi is not merely a piece of textile, but a philosophy, and the Khadi movement was a subject very close to his heart. He wanted to transform our villages from being dung heaps to Garden of Eden. The present strategy of rural development mainly focuses on poverty alleviation, better livelihood opportunities, provision of basic amenities and infrastructure facilities through innovative program of wage and self-employment. This approach may virtually look like going well, but one who understands Gandhiji and his approach to rural development, the way he conceived, finds missing many vital elements of development in the present program of the government. The economic ideas of Gandhiji and his followers may collectively called Gandhian economics. Gandhiji was not a professional economist as such, but consistent with his philosophy of truth and non-violence, he gave a set of economic ideas which have considerable influence on Indian thought and policy. His theory is in contrast to the traditional economics of the West. J.C. Kumarappa refined Gandhian economics. Gandhian economics is apt to build up a peaceful and a stable world. Gandhiji came from a well-off family, had his earlier education in London, and settled down as a lawyer in South Africa, where he took part in political movement against racial discrimination. He was deeply influenced by the ideas of Tolstoy, Ruskin, Thoreau, and Kropotkin, inspiring him invent the technique of nonviolence as an active method of political agitation. Coming to India in the year 1906, he assumed political leadership of the country, developed his economic ideas as well. He continued to be the virtual guide, the inspiration of the political movement in India that created global impression. In his economic thought, Gandhiji was deeply influenced by Ruskin's "Unto this last." He learned that the good of the individual is contained in the good of all. A lawyer's work has the same value as the barber's. All have the same right to earning their livelihood from their work, and that's a life of labor. The life of the tiller of the soil and the artisans are the life worth living. Tolstoy's principle of simplicity, asceticism, and equalitarianism became a part of his philosophy. Besides, Indian scriptures, Gita and Upanishad, Indian saint Kabir, Mira, Nanak left deep impression on him. The economic ideas of Gandhiji developed in three phases. We say the negative phase, up to year 1019. During which he criticized the Western pattern of economic development and adopted a non-materialistic attitude, which is found in his book Hind Swaraj. The positive phase from 1919 to 1934, when he presented an alternative to the Western civilization in the ideal of Swadeshi and constructive phase from year 1934 to 1948, when he became more practical, outlined constructive program for rural reconstruction, putting up the ideal of Sarvodaya. Gandhian economics is different from traditional economics and not a comprehensive theory rather. He was not very familiar with the thought of Keynes or the Marshall and read Marx as late as 1942 during his detention. It is found that the traditional economics do not find Gandhian idea very scientific. To embrace and appreciate his theory, we need to sense his simplicity, non-violence, and the decentralization, ethical and moral consideration, which form the basis of Gandhian ideas. If it is observed in deep, one would probably find the entire system of Gandhian thought is very logical. Or else, one may find that stuff is extremely lacking in coherence on such modern issues as public finance, the problem of defense and international trade, monetary management, and economic planning. The relationship between Gandhian theory, the relation between Gandhian theory and socialism is very interesting. Gandhiji's ideal of Sarvodaya was traditional Indian socialism. I underline traditional Indian socialism. But technically, Gandhiji was not a socialist, as in contrary to Marxist. He would uphold the private ownership of property by asking the capitalists to become the trustees of public property. At best, he asked them to be enlightened capitalists and uphold the welfare of the workers at all cost. From the Marxist point of view, Gandhian economics is reactionary in its outlook that visualizes a decentralized and simple system of economic organization. Gandhiji refuses to recognize class struggle and the fact that history had developed from one stage to another stage and as such must pass on to the higher stage of socialism from the present state of capitalism. The most outspoken critiques of Gandhian economics have come from Indian Marxists, but many socialist thinkers like J.B. Kripalani, Jai Prakash Narayan, Ram Manohar Lohia accepted Gandhian Sarvodaya as the ideal of Gandhian socialism. Socialism was established in China through violence, evidently on the basis of the Marxian philosophy. But tell me, in spite of their economic search, whether everything inside there is fine. They have exceeded planetary boundary, far from concept of sustainable development. China, the world's champion of economic growth over 3 decades, has also become the champion of polluted waterways of major cities because of the extent of the heavy industrial processing. China, the world's most populous country with 1.3 billion people. So anything major that happens in China is earth-shaking today, and the world is fighting pandemic COVID-19 said to be originated there. This puts a question on their socialism pattern. Indeed, influence of Gandhian economic ideas on Indian thinkers, especially who took over the lead of nation building at the post-independence, was not very deep. Gandhiji was universally accepted as a great political leader and the father of the nation, but many of his immediate followers did not see eye to eye with his economic views. The influence of Gandhiji's economic idea on government policy has been little. The Planning Commission talked on moral values, non-violence, and decentralization as desirable characteristics of a national economic policy. But the 5-year plan in itself is hardly Gandhian in outlook. In fact, staunch Gandhian like Kumarappa, L.C. Jain, and Sundar Lal were critical of the government policy of reconstructing villages with foreign aids, as was being done under the community development program in the country. Rabindranath Tagore too advanced more similar models of rural development. Both were aware of the fear that worked in the subconscious mind of poor that whether their basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter would be fulfilled or not throughout his lifespan. This applies to the poor living in our 7 lakh villages even today. For the poor, meeting their needs related to health, education, secretion, etc. are still a sheer luxury. Gandhiji spread the spirit of national integration. In post-Chinese aggression in 1962, 14 national level, one-fourth national level NGOs founded on Gandhian ideology came to Nepal, now Arunachal Pradesh, border to create a sense of national integration among the tribal. They were called Shanti Sena, peacekeeping force. Kasturba Gandhi National Memorial Trust, Guwahati, Sharoni Ashram Guwahati, took a leading role. 10 years back, I went to a place called Mechuka, an earthly paradise in the extreme border of China, and was delivering a speech on Gandhian model of development. An old man from the audience came to me weeping. Virtually, he hugged me in emotion. He was a member of Shanti Sena, shared experience of working with the Gandhian followers. Tagore established the Institute of Rural Reconstruction, first of its kind in India. Tagore and Gandhiji both pioneered the cooperative movement. To Gandhiji, human resources are precious, keeping them ideally seen, and he was not against machine if its application does not create an unemployment problem for people. The two great philosophers wanted to establish value like truth, purity, freedom, and spiritualism in the world. Gandhiji felt independence must begin at the bottom. He believed capital should strongly flow into the rural areas rather than labor flow into the urban areas. The consequences of COVID-19 pandemic loom over the year 2020 have implicitly driven reverse migration, the exodus of the migrated laborers. We now face with an enormous challenge to provide them livelihood in one hand, but on the other hand, Gandhiji's universal truth, capital should flow into the rural areas, got new dimension and validation today in the pandemic situation. His theory got resurgence and resilience in this defining time towards rural reconstruction, reminding us the time-tested testimony of Gandhiji. To him, the essence of non-violence is decentralization. This is why economic ideas are becoming increasingly relevant to the world today, predominantly to the third world countries. Economic development ought not to be the job of the government alone. If so, the incredible story of Indian brand and women group enterprise, Lijjat Papat, would not have become a 6.5 billion enterprise from a rupees 80 capital, which employs today 46,000 women. People should know how to utilize precious resources. Economic growth alone is not important. Equally important are fair distribution of income and wealth and development, and also protection of the environment. This is the fundamentals of the sustainable development. But for decades, the global community first deviated from the path of sustainable development, putting the earth to a looming threat. Today, the global family has been working on 17 sustainable development goals, but most of these goals are already embraced in the Gandhian philosophy. Gandhiji wrote in 1936, I would say if the village perishes, India will perish too. It will not be anymore India. Her one mission in the world will get lost. When despite our recurring efforts to planned economy over the decades, conditions in the rural areas have not improved much. Pandemic has visited us, an annoying guest, staying with us and not booking the return ticket. Humanity take a lesson today amid COVID-19, how sustainable development is crucial. Today we live in a world of plenty, but there are still large number of people, more than a billion, more than 1 out of every 7 of the planet living in extreme poverty. This is why Gandhiji to be revisited and reinvented globally. COVID-19 has unveiled the ruthless face. With the business as usual, we ponder, is it the final hour for 10,000 years old civilized Homo sapiens? And will they survive the 21st century? We have passed the planetary safety margin. The interconnections of abiotic and biotic features of the earthly system has been infringed. The climate change, challenges of rapidly urbanizing world, the great extinction process underway because of the human domination of ecosystem, our extraction from the ocean and land resources, the massive illegal trades. Gandhiji's non-violent approach to social action and social change today stands taller in the midst of confusion. The most important idea is the idea that humanity can solve its problems peacefully and can live together because what we have in common is so much more important than what divides us. Humanity should not deny the value of hopes and dreams. It must be dynamic, not static, changing to meet the challenge of each new generation. Peace is a process, a way of solving problems. Similarly, sustainable development is a process, a way of solving process peacefully and globally, addressing our deep common needs using science and technology, our know-how and our shared global ethics to get there. Kennedy, in his peace speech in year 1963, pleaded about values, human rights, and ideas. He was grappling with a divide between the United States and the Soviet Union, a divide of deep values, political system, and nuclear arm pointed at each other. But his message was that because we have common interest, we can resolve our problem peacefully. Gandhiji said, we want healers of souls rather than of bodies. The multiplicity of hospitals and medical men is no sign of civilization. The less we and other pamper our body, the better for us and the world. I conclude, but before that, I would like to share you 3 stories out of 100 I experienced in my life that deeply influenced me. I'm narrating a story of the village, a remote tribal village called Boronianglo in Dima Hasao district of Assam. One youth group 2 years back invited me for a motivational talk and guide them pursuing rural development. Under the open sky, in the front yard of a rural house, the owner happens to be a teacher in Art of Living School, was sitting either on ground or on timber blocks, stools, etc. And there were around 40 youths. I was delivering a talk. Incidentally, all got absorbed in my talk. Suddenly, an elderly man came, attired in his traditional dresses. He was offered to sit down with us, but he remained standing for a couple of minutes and then started scolding all of us, including me, and thereafter he left straightway. He spoke in tribal dialogue, so I could not make anything out of it, nor could explain why he was angry. Later they explained, the old man said, it is full daytime and you all youths are gossiping. How you can prosper? You do not value the dignity of labor. The sense of dignity of labor is one of the important ideology of Gandhiji got manifested in this old illiterate man of a tribal village. I developed a deep sense of gratitude on this village man. A society guided by such an elderly man cannot get spoiled, I believe. In the evening, I came back to Haflong town. A youth leader called me, sent me WhatsApp message, with a record of my talk. He told it has been forwarded to many youths as a motivational speech. And what made me like crying is that many of them inserted my picture in the DP of their mobile handset. This village and the locality were facing threat under law and order disturbances in last couple of years. With our initiative KVIC, where I work, we identified 25 youths. We trained them in scientific beekeeping as the village was in the lap of nature and plenty of floral resources were there which are essential for honeybees, and distributed beehives, etc. to them. It has been prospering, the village has been prospering as a honeybee village, bringing a total change. They made a video on this, a storytelling for change, where they projected our small contribution, Meghna Masli. I will not forget this initiative in Gandhian model. I will not forget the honor they reciprocated upon me. I'll just narrate another small story. In the year 2019, March, I went to a village in Golaghat district of Assam. And I was on an official job with my technical officers to verify the functioning of the biogas plants, those were installed previously, with the assistance of our department. You know, biogas is a source of clean energy produced out of cow dung. It is shocking that half of the planet is still cooking on smoky wood fires, and that the emissions from these inefficient fires are killing more people than HIV, malaria, and TB combined. And most of them are our mother, they are women. Reaching in the house of a beneficiary, I found that the biogas plant had not been working for lack of simple maintenance. We entered the kitchen of the house owner to see the pipe connections, etc. to the plant. Entering the room, for my strange, I found a small girl, maybe of age 8 to 9 years, trying hard to fire the traditional chula, the oven, with wood fire to cook their meal. The room was full of smokes, as there were hardly any window open. I virtually dragged this girl out of the dark room and explained how dangerous it is. It hurt me deeply when the small girl is to go to school, going through a pathetic situation like this. The biogas plant was made operational again. And the father of the girl promised me that henceforth they will not engage the girl in such a cruel work and will be allowed her to go to school. This is the strength of the Gandhian economics, the concept of the rural construction and rural development, that the idea we got from the Gandhiji, father of the nation. I would finish with the last story, my third story, of village Salmara of Majuli. Majuli, the biggest river island. The village Majuli is the traditional. The village is the house of the traditional women potters. One has to reach this village on foot. The village remains submerged in the water logging of river Brahmaputra for months together. During these days, they shelter on the bank of the river and pass pitiable lives. Elderly women are amazing pottery artisans. Still they live in poverty, starting from mixing of the clay to finished product. They do it manually, which is full of drudgery and income were marginal. In these days, when the houses are submerged, getting clay is again a formidable problem to them. They narrated, and I could see they already had lost most of their fingernails. Please understand, they lost most of their fingernails in mixing the clay for years with their hands. 20 women of that villages were imparted training on improved power operated potter wheels and were given machineries like potter wheels, blanger machine, I mean the mixing machine, and the improved chula for their economic salvation. The day assets were distributed to them in a brief function, I could see the tear of joy in the eye of 20 motherly women and others. The incidents inspire me silently every day. They said our next Diwali, the festival of light, will be different. There will be light in our houses too. As our product have very good demand in the nearby city Jorhat, but on the other side of the river Brahmaputra, crossing which is with our finished product ever remains a challenge for our males. I touched the clay with mold. I touched the clay, the mold, searching and feeling my mother there, paid my homage to Gandhiji in rewards for his economic theory, gave a life-changing opportunity to feel the heart of the others, who are not others, they are our. They are not others, they are our in the family of humanity. If one has to know Gandhiji, should able to see the same God in everyone with empathy. This is his talisman. So finally, I would like to stop, but I would like to tell again, be the change you want to see in the world. This is my third talk to the RGU community. 2 years back, I was invited by the RGU administration for delivering a motivational speech among the students. Last time, we jointly organized a program on Gandhi Jayanti, and this time I am extremely grateful to the RGU for giving me an opportunity to meet with such a high dignitary and illuminated person and sharing my ideas. My lot of respect to all. With this, I would like to conclude. Thank you. My homage to Gandhiji once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a real pleasure to listen to you, and especially you've covered so many aspects, the diverse aspects of Gandhiji's life, starting from the personal to the political to the economic to the social realms, and trying to connect the dots and speaking about the relevance for today. You have, of course, sir, very aptly pointed out that Gandhi's concept of Swadeshi is so relevant even today, especially his dictum that what he said, that the earth has enough to feed our needs, but not our greed. And that is the problem that we are witnessing today. All the problems, current issues that we face, it's a result of human greed. And somewhere we have veered away from what he had taught. And that, as you have rightly pointed out, began right after India gaining its independence in 1947, when even the 5-year plans, as you have pointed out, well, they had nothing about Gandhian philosophy in them. But even then, Gandhi has lived through in a number of different ways in the society, in the civil society, in the non-governmental groups which have been working relentlessly through scholars, academia, and especially the three tales that you've narrated. One of which I can personally identify, where as a young school pass out, I was lucky enough to visit Mechuka. As you've called, it's rightly a paradise. I visited Mechuka. I was a member of a civilian trekking team led by the Indian Army, and I was there in 2000. And I could see actually the simple life that people led, and I could also see that the way that people actually remember Gandhiji, because Gandhi, Nehru, these names they remember, they do. Uh, Going beyond that, sir, yes, you have also rightly pointed out that somewhere today the modern concepts of Atmanirbhar in Nirbhar Bharat have their origins in Gandhi's concept of Swadeshi. Uh, but hearing, sir, I think, maybe, we can start off with a question and answer session, and maybe I have a question myself. You've said that Gandhian economics was not, professional economics. It had a lot of digression with what Keynes or Marx or others said. Uh, but and he has also said that India lives in its villages. Gandhi believed in it because that was a self-sustainable economic model. If you look at the Indian political, social, economic system throughout history. Now, given the pulls and pressures of the modern capitalistic system, how do we, even today, means we have seen this discrepancies in the last 100 years because today it's 2020. Uh, am I audible, sir?
No,
Oh,
we lost your voice. Now again, I'm getting you. But there was
okay, sir. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. There was some
no. This is a
connection issue.
technical snag. Yeah.
So I'll just, yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please, please.
Yes, sir. So what I was saying is, given the pulls and pressures of the modern capitalist system, so how do we harmonize Gandhian economic and social values in the current situation? Because we see that there is a clear disjuncture because the modern capitalist system it pays a premium on the individual, whereas Gandhi talked about the collectivism. It talked about social harmony. So in theory, it's okay, but in practice, we see that we have veered away. So in this 100 years, there has been a huge difference. What is your take on this? How can we actually move towards a Gandhian model? Is there any way out? So is there any solution?
Thank you. See, we have tried to understand Gandhian ideology. And then lately, what happened all over the globe that we deviated ourselves from the Gandhian way of Gandhian economics. And the various countries started going in their own ways. Now take the example of the China and many other countries which is too advanced, has prospered so much economically to see from the outside. Now a sense has come, a realization has come that just economic growth will not address the innumerable problems that human being face. I've told a very important line, if you have shared, that human being have much more in common than something uncommon which divides us. This particular world, this particular quotation addresses all the problems. Okay, your prosperity, your everything is okay. But if it goes to the against the humanity, then there is no sense of working on this type of economic prosperity or economic growth. With the evolution of the time, with the changes of the time, things have changed. But I was always trying to tell about the basic ethics, the foundation, the core concept of the Gandhiji that has to control the humanity. I think if this is carried in the heart of every individual being, this world will be a much better place to live. I hope indirectly I have replied.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, I'd request the participants to put in the questions to sir. Please type them in the chat box. Yeah, we are waiting for questions. Okay, sir, I've got a question from another participant who wants to know why did Gandhiji call Swadeshi as the law of all laws? Sir, you're mute, sir. Let me unmute. Yes, sir.
We need to understand the correlation of the Swadeshi. Gandhiji said that whole globe is interconnected. We are connected, but human has a limitation. Try to understand. Now, sitting here in Guwahati, somebody want to work. He cannot work for a person who is sitting or his system is 1,000 kilometers away. So he said that you need to focus on the need of the immediate neighbor. And that is a chain, so it will continue. And that way, by taking the care of the immediate neighbors, this is actually, in fact, step by step, as a link of the chain, passes on to the whole humanity. Because of this, he said that if all the locations are, all the peoples are, works much for the neighborhood, things in terms of Swadeshi, what he says, the geographical boundary, that is for the benefit of the others. So because of this, on this corollary, he said that this is the law of the laws.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we have another question. Somebody wants to know about your experience in Arunachal Pradesh. How have the Indian state been able to propagate Gandhiji's message in Northeast India and especially in Arunachal Pradesh? Since you have also written a book on that, so there's someone who wants to know about your experience in Arunachal Pradesh.
I have worked for a long tenure in Arunachal Pradesh, and in fact, when I was doing my PhD also in rural development, many of the things I have taken from the tribal civilization, their tradition, the egalitarian society, their egalitarian society. And I have found that many of the things, of course, very rapidly, our present tribal community is getting away and away further and further from those egalitarian concept. Now there is a lot of divisions among the rich and poor. But if we go back, if we just deep back for 40, not very far, 40, 35, 45 years back, that was a replica of the Gandhian economics. The traditional handicrafts, the economic earning, the way of their earnings, and the village community, and they becoming a democratic unit as a whole, that was so dominant, so prominent in the tribal societies of the Arunachal Pradesh. And I have visited other tribal areas of the Northeast, and I found that that theory is there. So I feel that Gandhian economics is very, very relevant for the tribal development and especially of the Northeast region, because you need to much based on the localized economy. You cannot put up heavy infrastructure because of the infrastructure and connectivity problem. But if you reach yourself the small unit of the villages, and if you get interconnected, automatically what happens, the whole area will get developed. And these are the states which live in the lap of the nature. And Gandhian value, taking proper care of the nature, what I told, biotic and abiotic relationship, I have uttered this word. So this is found very much dominant in the tribal community. But a time has come to give a proper check, because a lot of motivation is required. I have told you the story of the 1962 post-Chinese aggression. when very highly qualified people from all over the country rushed to the China border in our part, in Arunachal part. They tried to motivate the people, making understanding of the Indian ethos, Gandhian ethos, because those tribal people, those who are in the very much periphery of the two countries, and they are not much aware of what is the ethics, what is the civilization the Indian mainstream do have. So this is also national integration cannot happen automatically just working in the mainland of the country. If the national integration has to be brought in real practice, we need to spread our wings, reach out to the last man, reach out the farthest man of this country. I think I have clarified. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from a faculty member, Pratiti Burman, and the question is, do you see any relevance of Gandhian economy when the corporate social responsibility is becoming so important today?
CSR initiative has a lot of good things. We can take the example of the Tata Group is working for that. I'm giving information that around 66% of their total profit is put back to the society's development. Now, these are the, if you take the example of the Fordos, these are the right examples how we can give back to the society. Because we should know that what we are earning, what profit we are earning, that we are taking from the society, and giving back to the society is very, very important. I'm a government servant working for 30 years. I'm always taking from the society, from the revenue of the country in terms of my salary. But a time also has to come in me. I need to have an understanding that I should give back to the people what I am taking. It should not be just a one-way traffic. So CSR is a beautiful way to work in reciprocation. And working in reciprocation is also a part, ingredient of the Gandhian theory.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I think, sir, it's nearly we are at the end of this webinar, and it is a real treat listening to you, sir. Thank you so much for being a part of our commemorative series on Gandhiji. We have met you and listened to you thrice, and we hope that we'll continue to benefit from your guidance in the future, from your experience in the future. Thank you so much, sir. So before ending, I would like to offer my vote of thanks. First of all, from RGU, we really thank Dr. Sukamal Dev for agreeing to be a part of this speaker series, and thank you, sir, for delivering your expert lecture. Then I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor S.P. Singh, without whose encouragement this whole initiative wouldn't have taken place. It's under him, under his expert leadership, that Royal Global University has today become the #1 private university in Assam. I'd also like to thank the registrar for her continuous encouragement. Next, I thank our chairperson academic, Professor Alok Kumar Buragohai, for encouraging us to go ahead with this initiative and also to imbibe the ideals of Gandhiji, to continue with her research on Gandhiji. May I also take this opportunity to thank Professor P.J. Mohanta, Dean, Royal School of Humanities and Social Sciences, for being a part of this whole process and also guiding us continuously. It is with a lot of gratitude that I thank the entire teaching and student community of RGU for their wholehearted participation. And last but not the least, Without the help of the IT cell of RGU, this entire webinar would not have materialized. It's through their help that we have been able to connect with each other today. Thank you all. And we come at the end of this webinar. Thank you.